Oh, starting it off strong, real strong on the first Slamcast of the 2015 holiday season. Yes, it is time to talk a little professional wrestling on the Slamcast. I am your exalted host, Brendan Liggan, joined as always by my number two. I guess it would be the Gorilla Monsoon to my Bobby the Brain Heenan, Mr. Nick Horaceck. Nick, how are you? How was your holiday?
It was good. Won $50 playing past the aces last night.
Get that fuck money, brother. Get that fuck
Yes.
money. Trying to get that fuck
Oh
money.
man.
All about that fuck money.
Yep.
We are all about the fuck money here too on Slamcast. So we hope you got all your fuck money in this weekend.
Oh yeah, I used some of it to scarf up on that Dreamer Raven shirt. So
Oh
Pro
man,
Wrestling
we'll
Tees
talk. You want to
right.
talk about You want to talk about that feud, man? That's one of the great feuds. Because I mean, again, we're to pause. That was such an organic conversation. We're gonna have to do that over again. Yeah, I want to talk about one of the great feuds in wrestling history.
Yep.
That feud, man. That feud. Talk about feuds that pushed the line as far as what's real in wrestling and what's not real. Because
Yep.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that that story is still kind of not real, but like 20 years later, and
Well,
it's still somewhat believable.
you had two guys here in Tommy Dreamer and Raven. You had Tommy Dreamer, who was the white meat, good-looking baby face. You had Raven that came
Which in
from
ECW in the mid '90s was pretty much a death sentence. You were pretty much like it would have been like Doink coming in there, which is something that actually happened in ECW.
yeah, and he got just destroyed. So
Both by the crowd and by 911.
choke slams all day long.
For real.
Oh man. But here we have two guys. The whole backstory is partly what made this.
Yeah,
Is
and it blurred the line between reality and wrestling, and it was something that nobody was doing at the time in 1995.
right. You had WWF, who was at an all-time creative low.
Well,
I mean,
hey,
it was like bad. It was bad gimmick city,
some
bad
people
match city.
say it's all an all-time creative low right now, but we'll talk more about that later because it was an interesting weekend. But we're gonna talk about this feud because this is, again, we're reminded of this in a T-shirt. Which, if you haven't seen the T-shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees, you need to go pick that up because
Yeah, it comes with two autographed 8x10s by Tommy Dreamer and Raven. It's it's a Star Wars esque shirt. It looks so fucking cool.
it's like it's one of the best. It's one of the most original wrestling shirt designs I've seen in a long time, and I'm like, I have to get that. I have it. I must have it. So I'm totally jealous that you have it, and
Yeah, I just ordered it earlier, so
that's pretty fucking pimp.
yeah. So we have Dreamer, who, when he first came into ECW, he was hated. He was that good-looking baby face. Nobody liked him, and eventually he
Yeah,
would have,
and the suspenders too. I remember that, like just neon tights, neon like
suspenders.
he looked like white Coco Beware at
Oh my god, yeah.
like.
And then, of course, the infamous "Thank you, sir. May I have another?" That line.
He looked
He
like
got caned by the Sandman.
he looked like a non-ginger Jim the Anvil Neidhart without a beard.
Yeah.
Or the goatee. Ha ha ha. It's my Anvil. Ha ha ha
Oh man.
ha. Glad to see. Speaking of Thanksgiving holidays, it's glad to see the Anvil doing well. Because
Yeah.
there are times on those episodes of Total Divas where he's just like, ooh, not looking good. Good to
Yeah.
see that the Jim's back in good health.
Well, yeah, because I follow Natalia on Instagram, and there's always pictures of Tyson Kidd, and he's always smiling, so he's
That's
doing
what I
well.
think. I'm glad to see Tyson Kidd's doing well too. But
Yeah.
so yeah, this Dreamer Raven feud.
Oh,
But
and with all the facets of it, you had the backstory that these guys were friends at summer camp when they were 12.
again,
You
and
had,
this is a good example of blending real life events
yeah,
or things that like could seem like they were real life events into a storyline and making it compelling
hmm
for where an audience. I mean, they had that audience. I mean, granted, it was the ECW audience. That ECW audience at that time was a cult by all definitions.
hmm
It was the cult of Paul Heyman. Uh,
yes, they
still,
were all drinking the Kool-Aid, man.
and still in some ways is. That was definitely Paul Heyman's Jonestown. for real.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, for them, those guys to have that audience eating out of the palm of their head. Those guys never. I mean, Raven went on to have a pretty successful, notable run in WCW, and then an okay run back around in WWE.
Mhm.
Dreamer went on to be, one of the most respected guys in any locker
Yeah,
room.
and
And it,
they bring in Beulah McGillicuddy, who was the fat girl at summer camp that Dreamer ignored. So you had Raven paying Dreamers. Yeah, he wasn't always this nice, likable guy. They had guys like the Bruise Brothers. They had fucking
Dancing Stevie Richards.
Stevie Richards, the Blue Meanie. It was just they had all the Brian Lee. I mean, come on, Dreamer and Brian Lee had a fucking scaffold match that the Sandman had built, probably after a six pack.
Oh,
So
look,
the fans knew that
wait, we're ar-
Sandman.
we're we're arguing this probably. Probably. Did I ever tell a story on this show about how my friend TJ almost hit Sandman with his car?
No. Oh
Okay,
my
well,
god.
we went to an ECW show. This was a weird ECW show because it was an ECW show on a Monday night.
Mm.
Yeah, it was yes, an ECW show on a Monday night in New York, in Poughkeepsie, New York, when Monday Night Raw was running in Albany, about 2 hours away, 2 hours north or so. Um, so there were, guys that pretty much had to go pretty much right after they leave if they were supposed to be on Raw. Uh, go. I know it was the Big Show. Big Show wrestled in the first match. And probably got a helicopter or something like that,
Right.
or got in his. I don't know if he had the bus at that point in time or gotten
So
something.
this would
And
have been what, 2006?
yeah, 2006.
Okay.
Sandman's in the main event. He walks right past me. Of course, I stood up on the chair. I might have been the only person standing up on a chair during the thing. I was in the third row. We were having a good time.
Nice.
So Sandman walks right past me on the way in, like kind of like had to hold him up and stuff like that on the chair. We had to allow him to pour beer, but it was kind of they were entering the PG thing. There was no beer present. I wish I had a beer for him, but
Oh damn.
I was again if I 2020 hindsight being what it is. I wish I had these things. So end of the show, we leave, and the exit to the arena is or basically on the other side of the building, basically around the corner from where you would have to go if you were trying to take the bridge across the river to go south, which is where we were going. So we go around the corner out of the parking lot, make the turn around the arena, and we have to stop at the crossing light to let people cross. We stopped kind of short in the intersection because we didn't really see anybody making the cross at first. And lo and behold, we almost hit the Sandman with his car.
Fuck.
He stopped short, and because we didn't see somebody walking out at the time, and yeah, we almost hit the Sandman with his car.
Shit.
And then he kind of gave us this puzzled look, deer in headlights kind of look,
Mhm.
cigarette in his mouth, rolling his bag, and then went on his way. He was carrying the Singapore cane still. Um,
Okay, that's living the gimmick, bro. Like, fuck.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he might have been still in his gear at the time.
Ah.
Yeah. So that was my weird Sandman story.
But
So
yeah. But yeah, I mean,
great.
brought
This is
back
one of
to
the great ECW moments of all time. Like
yeah.
if we were trying to rank great ECW creative,
Mhm.
this is probably the best thing they've done. The fact that people are can still talk about it and it's still
Mhm.
just as relevant 20 years on.
Yeah.
It's
It was like number 15 on WWE's like top 25 greatest wrestling feuds.
yeah. I mean,
Like
it's
it was right up, that whole thing hosted by Renee Young. But yeah, all the things they did. I mean, they pushed a lot of fucking lines. I mean, come on, the lesbian pregnancy angle.
yeah. It just I guess so many. There's so many just God, and the WWE wouldn't dare do anything like this for at least the next 9 years. Like
Hmm.
hot lesbian action and anything else like that. Just great, great creative. Just absolutely, and it's how that Tommy Dreamer's career arc, early career arc, is how you make a face. Like
Hmm.
That's how you have to have him go.
Making a face booking 101.
Exactly. Or just or how to build your face character 101, and it's basically just play Tommy Dreamer's career from
Yeah. And I
before.
mean, even when they had the big final confrontation, is how they built, they booked it. Because Raven was heading to WCW, and if they built it as, lose leaves town, well, fans knew what they were going to do. Even then, Dreamer still didn't want to beat Raven. Because that was the key. Dreamer had never pinned Raven in 3 years.
Yeah.
Never beat Raven.
I mean, and they'd had like I can't believe how many like pay-per-view or not pay, but
Big matches. They've
main
had
event
fucking
matches and
just
for the title too, wasn't there? They had that feud was for the belt at one point in time too, wasn't it?
yeah, and that was also Tommy's other thing is he never wanted to win the title. So
Had to grudgingly win the title and then have Justin Credible take it off him 10
like
minutes after the fact.
2 hours, like however long it was
Not
later,
even.
yeah.
It was like he beat Taz in the first match, and
Which
then
was another weird situation. Taz WWE guy had beat Mike Awesome, who was a contracted WCW wrestler
yeah,
for
the
the
only time.
ECW title live event because Awesome jumped ship, and
Mm,
then basically Dreamer, because Paul knew, Dreamer's not leaving, so okay, put the belt on me, but I want to get beat for it later. So he technically was ECW champion for like 20 minutes.
yeah, and then he lost to Justin Credible.
Yep.
But
Who
yeah,
has retired?
yeah, okay, sure. I have attended a Justin Credible retirement ceremony, and that was 4 years ago.
Ah.
So I will believe Justin Credible's retirement when he stops appearing at wrestling shows. As soon as
True.
he stops showing up at wrestling shows for to get a little bit of income and do signings and that kind of stuff, yeah, that's when I'll believe his retirement. Because as long as he starts showing up to those things, there's going to be some promoter that's going to offer him enough money to where say, oh, Justin Credible comes out of retirement. He's one of those guys that will always, I think, find a way as long as he's physically doing it, physically able to find a promoter that's going to be willing to pay him money. It's one of those names people want the old, like a lot of ECW fans get
It's the
nostalgia.
nostalgia pop.
Exactly. Again, if I was Lance Storm, I would move him up here, and I just yeah, okay, we're just gonna bring back the Impact players in my territory because it's my territory and I want to do that, and that's the greatest thing I ever did. But again,
Yeah.
the Dreamer Raven feud is probably the signature moment in both of those guys' careers, and both of
Yeah.
those guys went on to have pretty notable careers. Raven was a pretty big deal in WCW for a little while. Like I fucking was bought everything he did, hook, line, and sinker in the flock. Like I was, wearing the tattered shorts. I didn't have a leather jacket. I had plenty of flannel though.
Nice.
I was an angsty teenager at 14, and quote the Raven nevermore and all that other stuff. I bought that. I bought every promo he ever did. That's talk about guys who seemingly had everything to put together and put a
Mm-hmm.
series run together, or be a legitimate champion in this business. He could have been like a heel character, like a Nick Bockwinkel, or I mean, yeah, he wasn't technically as sound as Nick Bockwinkel. I'm not putting him on that level, but
Right,
just
but
that
he.
erudite heel, like
Mm,
a heel that thinks is better than everybody else, kind of thing. Because he was eloquent, and could cut a promo like anybody else. And Dreamer went on to be one of the most respected names of his generation, not only just
right.
out of CW, just in general. Like if you
I
drop,
mean, he beat his body up for the
yeah,
fans,
absolutely.
and
But again, if you drop Tommy, you say Tommy Dreamer, or Tommy Dreamer's seal of approval and stuff like that. That's like a gold mark in
yeah.
this business, from what I understand. So yeah, that's
I mean,
a
I respect the hell out of that guy too.
you can't
I've,
not respect
yeah,
Dreamer.
he's one of those guys that, I mean, he's beaten up, he's busted his back, his neck. How many, but
Exactly.
he's
And
one of
and
those
if you
guys,
ever
and
listen to interviews and stuff that he does, like he just has one of the most brilliant minds for this business of this
Yeah. I mean, he
generation.
has his own promotion, the whole House of Hardcore thing.
Yeah, and if you just listen to the things that he just comes up with off the top of his head, and that's. I have not met the man before. I have probably had a few opportunities probably to do it before, but if I ever did, I'd be like, I would have a hard time not being a fanboy for it. That'd be just one of those. Just one of those things. Like I would, like I know people who have been to his house, and they've told me the same thing. Like Beulah comes to say, and they're just like kind of like starstruck. Like I wouldn't know what to do. He's just a regular guy. He has a house and a wife and kids and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I wouldn't know what to do. I'd just be like, shit, Tommy Dreamer. What the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, he's
God, so great. But this feud is a landmark moment for both of them, and I guarantee you we're going to be talking about this feud 20 years. As long as this feud will live on in wrestling history because of the WWE Network, and it's probably all available on the WWE Network.
Yeah, I mean they've added a bunch more of the hardcore TVs. I was just watching
Finally,
one from.
Hey, speaking of, finally they added nitros. Like,
Yep.
They finally heard my call and added 2 years worth of nitro. So thanks for that WWE Network. I can't wait to go watch.
Yeah, because I was just watching the hardcore TV. It was the tribute show to Louis Piccoli.
I was just watching the other day one of the best promos in wrestling history. Not just any spot, not a dog spot, not an oil spot, my spot.
Nice.
Oh God, yeah. Fucking. So yeah, this weekend in wrestling was weird. It started out with fucking terrible news that apparently was it Anonymous had a knock. I don't know how.
They said they didn't have anything to do with the
There
league
was
original.
There was reports of that a potential target for terrorist attack would be
by these jihadi jackoffs, ISIS.
I'm not gonna refer to him by name on the show because if I refer to him by any name, it gives them credibility, and that's exactly what they want. So I'm not even gonna refer to. So just general jerk offs were allegedly targeting this, which led to an increase in security and bad thing. Nothing happened, of course. I didn't think as soon as these stories happened, I kind of have to like calm people go into like mass hysteria mode and stuff like that. Where God, it's gonna be this thing. Like calm down.
Yeah,
there was gonna be something happening. You wouldn't know about it beforehand. It's just gonna happen. Like you that could happen to you going to anything, and if you're gonna let yourself live in fear like that, that's what
then the jihadi jackoffs win.
That's what these fuckheads want. Call them exactly what they are. They are fuckheads.
Yes.
Go back.
And it's like you really think you're gonna let Vince McMahon?
He's Vincent Kennedy McMahon, damn it.
Yeah, you're not gonna intimidate Vince McMahon.
That's the last thing that these asshole fuckheads want is they think they've brought down the wrath of the French. They dare not provoke the wrath of Vincent Kennedy McMahon. This man's got grapefruits, okay, and he will bring John Cena over there, okay, and they won't be able to see him.
Oh, I was about to say, yeah, they won't see him coming.
Let's see him. Ba ba ba.
Oh man.
God. So yeah, the weekend was just terrible. Just terrible weekend because the god of the sun and moon, Cesaro.
Oh boy. Had surgery.
Needs to have rotator cuff surgery, and
I think he just had it, and he's
just out of the blue too. There was no like reports or anything. I don't know what happened to cause it. I don't know if this was a nagging injury or just.
It might have been.
And again, this guy has been on the independent circuit for 10 years before he got to WWE. So there's a lot of wear and tear on that body. It was only a matter of time, I guess we could say. But talk about it, at the worst possible time for something like this to happen.
Yep.
His momentum was only going to be growing from week to week. The fans, those Cesaro section signs were getting more and more populated. It was gonna be a point in time where the WWE couldn't ignore it, and they were gonna have to do something with it. And now they can ignore it and we'll just go right back into the pile of guys. I hope not. I mean, I hope that you know the two injuries to one of the greatest tag teams of this year behind the New Day. Um, I hope the stars align properly and the recoveries work out where we can see Kid and Cesaro return together.
Yeah.
You know, that's the best case scenario. But we just wish Claudio, I'm gonna call him by his first name, but we just wish the guy speedy recovery. And
Yep.
we literally, and this is no platitudes aside, the company needs you to get back. The villagers are already at the gates. Like,
Yeah.
they have the flaming pitchforks already, and we are just barely. We can see the turnoff to the exit to the road to WrestleMania. So we're
Hmm.
on the road to get on the road to WrestleMania. Um, and the villagers are already at the gates with pitchforks flaming. Um,
Yep.
but we'll talk about that later because there's another big injury that happened out, and
Yeah.
another worst case scenario because
You could
this
say this happened from out of nowhere.
from out of nowhere indeed, and this has even dare I even say it, I immediately knock on wood. I'm knocking on my chair, knock on wood.
Hmm.
Uh, hope it's not true because if it's true, that they have lost one of the all-time greats. And I'm not just saying this just because it's something to say on a podcast. This is something I truly believe. Randy Orton is going to require neck surgery, and
Yeah.
that's a bummer. That is
Devastating.
and for him to happen now at this stage in his career when he's approaching 40.
He
It's
just got remarried. He's and
speaking of
now.
which, I watched that Unfiltered with him and Renee Young because it
Mm,
was after Breaking Ground, which is again the best thing on the WWE network that's not named NXT apparently,
yes.
but the best show, non-wrestling,
Actual original
original program,
programming.
fantastic series. Cannot recommend it enough. I mean, it's worth it just to listen to William Shatner talk. But um, yeah, just the Unfiltered with him and Renee Young. I mean, here's a guy who has really kind of got a second lease on life. He looks re-energized and refreshed, and ready to go into this, dare I say, final stage of his career because we just literally celebrated the Undertaker's 25th year in the
Yep.
WWE. So I hate to put the death knell in his career already, but um, for this to happen right now, it does not good. And there are reports that this could have career-ending implications
Yeah.
for Randy.
Because he's already out because of the shoulder surgery, and now his neck. Like,
Again, and for it to happen to him right now, where he's in the
yeah.
best
I.
his life and his personal life that he's ever been in his career, which will lead to him having better work. Because there was a thing. Remember, he was happening on there's the promo with him and Orton, or him and Reigns and Rollins, where
Mm,
like he was on the stage, Seth was in the ring, and then Roman had just came in, so he was on the other side on the announce table, and they were
right.
him going back and forth. Apparently, Randy like just got lost in his head and didn't have to really say anything more because the segment was about to be over. But Reigns was like got to diss him and stuff like that, and he's looking for his wife, and he's blowing his wife a kiss, but that gets on camera. Like the camera, that's the shot that like was live, so it's just like this beautiful shot of him like blowing a kiss to Roman Reigns. It looks like, and he's actually just like looking for his wife. So I like this is a guy. Here's a guy who's clearly looks like he's having fun in his personal life, which will have result in him having fun in his career, and
And now.
now he's gonna have got this. And if this is a career-ending injury, I just I can't. The WWE is losing an all-time great.
Right.
Absolute
And,
period.
if they haven't cleared Daniel Bryan yet because of this whole concussion thing, who knows if they're going to do it, but if, and this is just me, if it's looking like, yeah, it needs to retire, like, don't force it, Randy. Just retire, and, like, you
But
don't want to be too broken down later in
if
life.
if yeah, exactly. You want to be able to play with your stepkids and your daughter and
Mm-hmm.
your future kids. But just yeah, we talk about losing all time greats. I mean, if Orton is done, they are losing one of the best all round performers that they've ever had, and probably dare I even say it, the second best homegrown talent that WWE has ever produced. Well, maybe say John Cena's okay. John Cena's number one. Uh, you could say maybe The Rock is number two. John Cena, The Rock, 1, 2. Depending on how you're all made, but The Rock is number one.
Yeah.
Rock number one, Cena two. Orton is a unquestionable third.
Yep.
Unquestionable third. So yeah, just I hope I
Yeah.
pray
It's like
I am praying to the wrestling god Dusty Rhodes, baby. Please, baby, don't take Randy from us, Dusty. Please. Oh yeah, just
oh man.
God, that would be bad because there's the return match between any match between you know Seth Rollins and Randy Orton after that WrestleMania match. I'll
Was
watch that.
easily the second best RKO out of nowhere ever,
We
right
talk
behind
about
the
that.
Evan Bourne.
No, okay. I mean, I can the fact that Rollins is a bigger person, and the fact that he stood on his head, and then yeah, I think that's a better athletic feat
Mm-hmm.
than catching Evan Bourne.
I guess catching Evan Bourne is just kind of just prevalent in everyone's mind because
It's
it was
timing.
so.
It's timing, but for the fact that Seth to stand up for Orton to be able to stand up with Seth Rollins standing on his head,
Mm-hmm.
and Seth Rollins himself, 6'3", man, I could watch that clip any day of the
Oh,
week.
I mean that's a counter in 2K16 of the curb stomp.
Is it
It
awesome?
is. Yeah, you
Fucking
get the curb stomp counter because it's happened to me a lot because I have that as a signature. Just like boom, nope, RKO. Like fuck.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I might just apply that because I currently have the what do I have? My two signatures are the Uranagi slam and the back suplex kip up.
Nice.
Yeah, buddy. 2K16 talk. I just got the 2K16 game recently to brighten up the talk, and
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. I echo all your positive sentiments before. I like the seamless presentation of the actual
Yeah,
gameplay.
because there's a whole breakout system, so you can blast your opponent before during their entrance. There's.
I haven't figured out how to do that in career mode yet, but
I don't
yeah.
think you can.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense then.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's definitely probably one of the best wrestling games of its era. I mean, I know a lot of people have nostalgia
For
for.
No Mercy and me SmackDown too.
I mean, I like those games, but I'm all about progress in the wrestling genre. Yes, No Mercy was the perfect wrestling game for its time, but you really can't honestly tell me you would prefer 64-bit or 32-bit or like Nintendo 64 level graphics to 1080p photorealism on a PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4 rather. Um, I think my one real negative thing, because I don't really haven't delved that far into the game yet, is the career mode still isn't quite there yet. I think the career mode still needs a little more depth because I really don't feel any depth or reward for getting to the WWE. I really just kind of feel like I'm just creating my guy and then I'm
And
starting my
well,
WWE.
it's definitely you're
Held,
the ground
held by
up.
the hand, held by you're being no, but I still feel like I'm being led through and being held at the hand. Like, yep, here's your WWE tryout. Yep, here's this. Yep, here's this. Not just like I'm
Here's learning
discovering.
the mechanics with like Enzo Amore and
Yeah. Or you start out. I mean, did you start out with Baron Corbin as your
yeah,
initial?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so
You don't really
it's
get a
the same.
choice. You get saddled
It's,
with Baron,
it's the
which
same initial. And then he attacks you, and then like it's I got a lot of people probably.
well, as you go on, because I had to restart my fucking career mode file because it got corrupted. God damn it! But what you end up having a lot. It's you get a lot. There's a lot more openness. Different choices you make in the career mode when you're doing the interviews with Renee Young.
Well, those need work. I mean, while I like those, I mean, if I had to, I hate to compare the two games because I mean it's really the closest thing I have to compare it though, and that's I compare it to always to 2K, NBA 2K16, which is an unfair comparison because they have been working on the NBA titles for about a decade, and they finally, they're such the people at 2K are really good at portraying that sport. So they're just trying to figure out wrestling. The fact that Renee Young can't say your character's name when there's a like a list of names 100 deep or something like that of
Mm-hmm.
names that anybody else could say on the uh in
Yep.
the game. Renee Young can't seem to say your name. That's a major name because like that gets really annoying after about the third cutscene where it's I'm here with and we're here to talk about Baron Corbin. Like it's really it reminds me of have you seen any sailors? Do you know where I could find some sailors of Shenmue? Like that's what I feel
Yeah.
like we're approaching that level of absurdity.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like I said, definitely a step in the right direction. I like the
Step
fact
in the
that
right direction, but they're still not quite there yet. Like if you look at what NBA 2K16 has in their career mode this year, you feel like you're playing a miniature movie of a life of a basketball player.
right.
You start out in high school. You pick your own high school.
Yep.
Then you play a few high school games. Then you get recruited to go on to the college, and then
Yep.
you play in the NCAA tournament, and then you get drafted. See, I'd like to see a wrestling version of that where you start
Yeah,
out.
and I mean, I would also like to see, like how 2K has their own, NBA, my NBA 2K16 little like card game.
Yeah.
Like, I wish they would do that with WWE Supercard. Find
Oh,
some way to like, if you're playing games and you earn like virtual
the,
currency through playing.
exactly. Yeah, I believe it because you would have all of the virtual currency. I'm sure.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah, I play the shit out of the game, so.
yeah, I mean, I sucked it up and spent half of my virtual currency on having Paige be my manager just because, hashtag creepy Paige fanboy.
Yeah.
Um, I'm hey for everyone who wants to talk shit about the Dean Ambrose fangirl club, the lunatic Paige fanboys, which I am a card carrying member of, we're just as creepy. We are
Yeah, I
we are
think.
probably we are probably even worse. I mean, and I'm sure there are tons of Dean Ambrose Roman Reigns slash fiction on Tumblr somewhere
Ugh.
in, in the lower depths of the internet, which I almost don't want to. Like, believe me, there's an episode of this where I thought about reading some of that on the air.
Oh God, let's not go down that road, all right? And
Because
I
I
just
heard it
remember
exists.
who her family is, and I do not. Well, we really got to warn Dave because
Dave, we heard it because they live in driving distance and they're all crazy.
yes, it's like yeah. I mean, I just remember that meme. It was Ricky Knight and his
Well,
sons,
you just
and
look at
Ricky
that
looked like
family.
a
They
fucking Don in the Mafia.
Yeah, exactly. They look like a mafia family. Like,
Like
if you fuck with her, you're going to end up in a ditch somewhere in fucking Peterborough.
yeah,
Like
but
you will end up 4 towns. You'll be in fucking Wolverhampton or something. I don't know anything about English geography. I'm just throwing out English towns.
just name random names.
I'm naming English towns that I know, basically because of football. But yeah, man. Um, WWE 2K16 progress.
Yep. I mean, I did just get the season pass, so I got it because the new moves pack came out on Tuesday.
Let's not talk about DLC because DLC for that game I think is highly overrated. $10 to boost my character up to 90. Really, guys? Really? When it's only $1.99 to unlock everything?
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna charge me 5 times that to have so I can have a character in career mode worth playing,
Yeah.
man. So
Anyway,
at
I
least
mean,
we found a way to talk about something positive because it was just a bad look, as I said before, the angry villagers are at the gates,
Mhm.
and
I
I
mean, there were some less bad news, but it's still bad news.
oh
Solomon
well,
Crow
Solomon
asked
Crow.
for his release.
I really do. I think this is an opportunity, an instance where the WWE has dropped the ball with somebody because I think Crow had uh, a lot of potential to be. I'm not saying he could have been WWE champion
Oh
and
no, he would have
certain Hall of
been.
Famer, but this certainly could have been a certainly serviceable talent for you for the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah,
Um,
and he just got lost in the shuffle. And I mean, it was the
lost the
same
shuffle
thing with
NXT.
Cal. He that roster got so fucking bloated. You know, Apollo Cruz. They've signed so many indie guys that guys get lost in the shuffle. I mean, you had guys
We're gonna
that
start
break
see it.
out like
We're gonna start see it happening more and more. And I'm afraid that that's gonna be a trend. Like you're gonna see, I think guys like well, Samoa Joe's pretty secure, but
yeah,
um, it's going to be something that guys are going to be wary of coming over because they know it's going to be a deep roster and they're going to have an uphill battle just to a get on TV and then stay on TV.
hmm
Because a lot of times guys are coming to NXT and they're basically starting over. Apollo Crews had a big name coming into it before. Kevin Owens had a big name going into it before. So all those guys are, pretty good. But a lot of these
hmm
lesser indie talents that aren't, known all over the internet. Uh, some of these guys are going to have, a hard time uh,
yeah,
adjusting to it. And Callahan was one of them. Callahan was a pretty well known guy. I mean, he was a former CZW champion. Yeah,
yeah.
man, just it sucks,
I
but
think he realized like, yeah, I'm not getting anywhere, so he decided, he's granted
he
his
realized
release.
that it's probably he probably has a limited time to really earn and do well in this business, and he's certainly raised his profile on the worldwide wrestling circuit, so he could very easily command double, even triple what he was commanding on the independents before that, just because he is, former NXT superstar Solomon
Yep,
Crow, aka Sammy Callahan.
he was signed once.
He was signed once. Hashtag I was signed once. Shout out to brother Bill Carr, who I saw this weekend or saw last Thursday at the Coheed and Cambria show. Always good to
Nice,
see. Always good to see. Brother Bill doing well.
it's good.
Um, yeah, man. Gotta go see him this January, hopefully at GFW.
Yeah, I mean, and it's this thing where it's not a completely, your career's entirely broken if you don't, make it in WWE.
I actually here's the thing because here's a guy who has a reputable independent following, independent background where he can find some other place to go. He could very easily find his way to ROH. I'm sure there are some of the smaller promotions in Japan like Noah, maybe Wrestle One, DDT would probably he'd do well. Um,
hmm
so here's a guy who's going to probably do just fine and maybe even find his way back to WWE.
Maybe, who knows?
Same goes for your buddy Cal. I mean,
Yeah,
we were talking about this on before we recorded. I want to say this before we go. That guy should not be discouraged by how he got fired because they on the show Breaking Ground they do a very good job of making him a relatable person and someone you can find some
yeah,
sort of emotional attachment and
and yeah, you send me this message on Facebook because I got done watching Survivor Series. I switch over to my PS3. I'm playing some Ratchet and Clank because I'm trying to go
before you
through the whole trilogy. And then you
off.
send me this message, and I'm like, "Hey, your buddy was on a Breaking Ground." I'm like, what? And I just flip back over and I see. I'm like, I fucking knew it.
They do a very good job because within the first 30 seconds or so granted I already knew who he was because you know him.
Yeah,
Um,
and I've
but
known him, for 5, 6 years. So
right.
if
So
anyone who has no idea who he is and you're relating to him just through this, yeah, it's
I, Yeah, the show did a very good job, and he has a very good personality. Where I felt like I would want to have a beer with this guy, and knowing how it turns out, I genuinely feel bad for the guy,
Yep.
which is good for him because that will play on sympathy. Because then there will be a lot of people that will, get in his corner and say, "Hey, bring this guy back once if he wants to continue professional wrestling. Bring
Right.
this guy back. Give this guy another shot. He has, something. I think there's something there. I think there's something. I saw in the promo that he was cutting to, like, in the promo class, like, there's something there. Like, he can find something, find his niche. I think with, like, you see guys like Jordan and Gable, because I think that's a pretty good tag team too. There's something about that. There's a certain, again, they have like just this chemistry, and whatever it is that these guys do works both well in the ring and on the mic. So I'd kind of like to see maybe like a stable between these guys, and have all either very technically sound guys in one faction, and then have all these ridiculous gimmicks in another faction. I don't know. I'm spitballing ideas.
Yeah, at this point. So
I'm going off on a Dave moment. Um,
yeah, he's
but yeah, all right. So Survivor Series happened this week, and
yep.
I
Well,
feel.
before we
Oh,
get to that, the main event, the
oh yeah.
release of
Oh, I
Brad
mean,
Maddox.
God, yeah. This is. I mean, the writing was on the wall. Bradley, come on, you kind of when you're taking a tombstone from the Undertaker on the Tonight Show in a turkey costume.
Yeah,
You've either done something to piss somebody off, or they are just they
well,
you're
yeah, and with what it was
you're
over because he
literally
used the
you're
term,
literally the bottom guy on the totem pole.
yeah, because he used the term cocky pricks. And they basically found the reason that, okay, we're gonna get rid of this guy. They were looking for a reason and they found it.
Bricky, all I'm gonna say is Bricky then, Bricky now, Bricky forever. Solidarity, Bradley. Fare thee well on your journey outside of wrestling. I mean, here's an attractive young guy who could very easily be an actor or a male model. I think Brad Maddox is going to do just fine. Okay,
Yeah, he'll, again,
he'll
not the end
bounce
of the
back.
world.
He'll bounce back. TNA would love to have TNA. Here's a guy that's a guy TNA can do to take and make something with. I think so.
You think they're gonna be able to pop a rating with Maddox Bradley? Oh god,
that'd be
yeah.
that's
They
great.
found a new network.
They did find a new network. Nobody has it in America though.
Really? Like,
Same thing with ROH. Like the other two major wrestling promotions just redid their TV deals, but like only 20 people are going to be able to watch it.
mm-hmm. So
So
you know what? Good for you, TNA. You found a new network, but it's not gonna help you.
you've managed to find a way to stay on TV and therefore stay relevant and somehow stay in business, defying all conventional wisdom and
Yep. I mean, yeah.
experts.
Prove me that you're able to find it wrong. That you're
Trust
able to find
me,
a new
because
network.
we didn't think at this point in time, like we did a show a few months ago where we basically, did the final nail in the TNA coffin, and the fact that they're, they they pulled the plug on life support and they're still not dead.
They just
So,
canceled their India tour too because
did
of
they really?
logistics problems. In other words, no one bought tickets.
And there's no roads in India, so it's kind of hard to get wrestlers from one place to another because there's about 1 billion people and no roads, and everybody has cars.
Yeah.
So that's like, you ever see watch traffic jams in China and India where they just have so many people on the road at sometimes and not proper highway system to it. It's like
Mm-hmm.
literally a nightmare. That's my worst nightmare. Being stuck in a massive traffic jam in a smelly urban city.
Oh
Ugh,
man,
worst
that
thing
would
ever.
suck.
But yeah, Brad Maddox. I mean, there's a guy who had a good run.
Yep.
As I mean, a decent. I wouldn't call it a good run. An okay run as
He was on TV.
he was on TV. And I kind of envy him because he was a very charismatic individual. I think there was a lot of like what I call with Big E latent charisma. He could hold his own on the microphone with the best of them in
Yep.
WWE. I mean, he was asked to go up against with Triple H and Mr. McMahon, and you know, for somebody who's nobody in the company to go up against, go, up in the ring on a mic against one of the greatest of all time, and then your boss, who's also a legendary character in this business,
Yep.
and you don't defecate yourself in the ring. That's a pretty lasting accomplishment. So fare thee well, Bradley.
Yep.
Like I said. Now can we talk about Survivor Series, because I've been
Yes.
itching to get this off my chest,
Yes. Let's get to
because
it.
I see the angry villagers at the gate with the pitchforks already, and I just want to like throw oil on them anyway, a bunch of the logical oil, and let it burn them all. A lot of wrestling fans are upset at what
Shat
happened.
all over the pay-per-view, which was a halfway
Shit,
decent pay-per-view. You know, we didn't get
exactly.
there was were there missteps? Yeah, I mean, Paige versus
Look,
Shaw was a
look.
decent match, but should have been more of a fight. But
No, are you kidding me? Those girls were hitting hard. We'll talk about that later on, but the people that are just the growing number of discontented people that are being vocal after all of this are largely just people that are mad that their guy didn't win. So okay, so if you choose the fact that, okay, I don't like this guy who's WWE champion, I think this person's WWE champion, what do you have? What problem do you have with it? And if you can't find out an argument beyond that, shut the fuck up.
yep,
Because really, there was not, that first match of that pay per view was excellent. Alberto Del Rio, Roman Reigns. Del
great
Rio, Roman,
match.
I for every boring match I have watched of Alberto Del Rio, he goes and just completely redeems himself by putting on just a great match. I really shouldn't even call it his fault, because I don't know what he was going through with personal and what he was dealing with, behind the scenes and stuff like that. Obviously, if he
Hmm.
snaps on a motherfucker for calling him a fucking wetback or whatever, it that probably wasn't the first thing to ever happen. So I don't know if that was related to what I would come call lackluster performances, but this guy is back, and this guy is.
Yeah, he was tearing it up in Lucha Underground. He had a great match with Mundo on Ultima
Yeah,
Lucha.
it just seems like that, like that's what the being out of the WWE can do for you for a little bit. You get that recharge in your battery to
Hmm.
like and refocus as to why you do this, and then come back and just start killing it. Because I'm not saying that Del Rio was ever looked like he was going to win that match in my head, but
Hmm.
made Roman Reigns look like a million fucking bucks. That's for sure.
Yep.
And not everyone has been able to do that. I think Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins. Uh, I mean, I can name a few people, but I'm not going to go on and on. But there have been, a short list of people that have been able to do that.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, Del Rio is one of them, and I'd like to see. If Roman Reigns ever wins the title, that's like somebody who would be a perfect counterpart to him.
Yep.
Right there. I would pay to watch a feud between those guys. So that was a great match. The match between Owens and Ambrose was great.
Fantastic.
Fan fucking tastic. I
I
mean,
mean, and this is where I am convinced that someone is listening to our podcast in WWE, and
yeah.
there's someone saying, "Oh, that guy has a good idea. Fuck
Guys,
it, we'll give him Sheamus and he'll like it."
well, here's the thing. I don't have any problem with Sheamus. I mean, yes, at times his matches can be often compared to eating Thanksgiving dinner. It's pale and boring, and it will probably put you to sleep. Uh,
Bam.
Bam. Yeah, hashtag truth bomb. But
Yeah, I know. He looks like Irish Foghorn Leghorn. Because
but
my buddy Ty texted me right after. He's like, "How about Survivor Series?" When I just texted him the picture of Sheamus with the title, I
yeah,
mentioned Irish Foghorn Leghorn. He's like, I say, boy, you should have seen that coming."
yeah, we'll talk about that towards the end of the show, because like that
Yeah.
was a beautifully scripted moment. But I don't know what more the WWE has to give you people to really get you to. I mean, I think there were a lot of, like we mentioned, external factors that happened to probably the people in. Because I will admit it wasn't a perfect show, but
Oh.
it wasn't this terrible like stinker. There were like the obvious matches. I'm never watching WWE Network again. I'm canceling my subscription. Yada yada yada. The lemmings, the people throwing themselves on the cross and all that other stuff. I really just think get the fuck over yourself. Like
Mm-hmm.
this pay per view really wasn't that bad, and if you don't like it that much, you don't have to make that big of a deal about it. It's not the end of the
Yeah,
world.
it wasn't as bad as people
And this
make it
is
out.
coming from someone who does a weekly podcast about wrestling. Like,
Oh,
you know,
trust me, if we were doing this during, WCW 2000, we'd be railing on the booking left and right.
I would,
Okay?
if we were doing this show in 2000, I would treat that subject exactly how I treat TNA today. Avoid it, talking about it at all costs because I really have nothing good to say about it.
Well, that's perfect way to put it.
Perfect way to put it about it.
It's
Perfect
not
way to put
that moment. We're not at that level. All
it. No,
right? I mean,
but
it
yeah,
it just seems like, we had the New Day on the pay-per-view. Hello.
I mean, exactly. We got very good Survivor Series matches, which our predictions show was kind of skewed because
Because we had no
yeah,
idea who's going to be. They had, the Dudleys and one on the
I thought
pre-show.
I kind of thought that they were gonna Del Rio might have wrestled twice because I really thought that they were kind of building towards a match with him and Swagger. I thought it would have kind of just found its way onto the pay per view. The Survivor Series tag matches, the teams were a little off. Wade Barrett was on a team, but he was also on a team with the New Day, and Dolph Ziggler did have a team, so I was right there. But I apologize for that, for just being wrong. But I don't.
Mm-hmm.
It happens, But the Survivor Series tag matches were good. Um, all right, about the women's match, those two girls were put in a tough spot because I think they were in a pretty interesting spot in the card. They were pre-main, weren't they? No, they weren't that early.
No, it
They
was.
were right before. Were they right before or after Undertaker?
It would have been before,
All
because
right,
it went from Taker and Kane versus the Wyatts
to the time.
to, yeah, the really short
The
ceiling
really
match.
short, the really short title match. So those they were, you know, again, third to last match on the card. I think, if I'm
Mm-hmm.
not mistaken. Um, those girls beat the hell out of each other. I mean, that had to have been one of the stiffest women's matches I had ever watched in America. I mean, those girls were like working like it's Bull Nakano, and I can't think of anybody who wrestled Bull Nakano, but just two girls that just were working incredibly stiff and snug. And all right, yes, they had a great spot to their match. It was, messed up a little bit because Paige took her foot off and Paige kind of slipped at the end. But I thought there was a lot of elements to that match that were pretty good. It was some things in the execution didn't come off as well, like that ending, but I think this feud still has some go left in it. Uh, and I'd like to see where it goes. I don't think it was that terrible of a match. Again, I know
Right.
my good friend Mr. Steve Hatch constantly rails against women's wrestling, and but I think that match was moving in the right direction for women's wrestling.
Yep.
They weren't dainty. They weren't
Yeah, there's
slop.
none of the hair pulling and bullshit that.
There was wrestling holds. There was back and forth action. They knew the basics of
Mm-hmm.
how to build a match, and all the basic spots and stuff like that. And they tried to do something that a lot of girls wouldn't do. Like that's no girl, very few women on that with Divas roster would think of that spot, be try and do that spot. And I don't know who thought of it. I'm just because I'm a eternal Paige fanboy, I'm gonna give the Queen of Canary, the Mother of Canaries, credit for that. And she just kind of a little bit of a lost her footing there, and
Yeah,
look,
it's nothing. It happens.
it happens exactly.
Right.
Not,
People, there's slips. It's not. Again, it's the
not any
philosophy. That you slip. I
not
meant
any
to do that.
it's not any slight on the match itself. It's something that happened. Yeah, okay, might have made it look a little bit awkward, but it happens. What are you gonna do? She's trying to balance herself on a piece of foam that's probably been sweated on or has some sort of liquid condensation or something.
Whatever.
Yeah, I don't get it. I just don't get where's the outrage coming from. I don't. There was no. We even got a good Ryback segment. Ryback was not that bad. In and out that they finally found a good way to book Ryback in a tag team. In, tag in, clothesline, tag out.
Mm-hmm.
We got the New Day just continuing to be gold. We got Xavier Woods' hair.
Oh
I think
God, he looked like he was about to drop the hottest solo album of the decade. Good God.
absolutely. And if we don't use the picture of Xavier Woods with just posing, we don't even need a caption to that photograph. With that photograph, just the shot of him posing, like just that's our cover photograph this week. Just so fucking glorious. I love the line when they're talking about all the sports teams in Atlanta being bad and just all that other stuff and just hating them. And Xavier Woods lives in Atlanta, and he goes, "I live in this city, and even I hate those teams." Oh, I mean, they're not doing
golden. Oh my
they're not,
God.
exactly. They're not reinventing the wheel as heels. Like they're ragging on local sports teams, local geographical features or customs and stuff like that. But they're doing it in a way where it seems original and seems new, but it's not. And they're being themselves and just being goofballs. I mean, if you've their magnum opus, by the way, is the 17-minute promo with Eden Styles, and just if you haven't watched it yet, I can't words can't describe it. It does exactly what you think it would. New Day being the New Day for 17 minutes interrupted.
Yeah.
It's their Iron Man match, really. It really is. Or like it makes me wish that the New Day would open the show with 20-minute promos every week.
And then we wouldn't rag on 20-minute promos.
I would watch that for 20 minutes and just be transfixed that these three guys acting like complete jackasses, juveniles.
It just fucking works. It just plain works.
I mean, it gets better every week, and this week was a perfect example of that.
Still, my favorite line is "Don't boo the president."
Don't boo the president. Big E just keeps that man can do no wrong, and he's really found his niche. And I really hope that the sad day when this thing comes to an end and he has to move on and do something else, I hope he is just as successful. I hope he just continues to be this character that he is now, just without the two. I hope New Day lives on and it's a Big E finds two more guys. Oh, just be so great. Sorry, do you want to talk about the title match? Because
yeah, we gotta get that's pretty much where we're at now.
Look, we all kind of figured it was happening.
Well, yeah, as soon as Owens lost and it's down to Ambrose and Reigns
and
it's like
you guys can pretty much get. And look, we all kind of figured out, knew it was going to happen because if you could pay attention to a clock and know anything about times and how television segments generally used to like to end on a build up towards the end of something. The fact that the Roman Reigns Dean Ambrose main event was over with before 11:45 or before 45 minutes to the top of the hour.
Yeah.
Or 15 minutes to the top of the hour. Was that? And I hate to say I'm right all the time, but duh, did you not see that coming? People want to complain all around that Sheamus is the WWE champion. Look, does people forget the phrase transitional?
Yeah,
champion?
I mean,
Sheamus is not going to have the belt for very long. Let's relax. Let's see where this plays out. They're very clearly building towards something. The crowning glory of Roman Reigns, where he wins the title and then can actually keep the title for more than 5 minutes and 15 seconds. one of the shortest reigns in WWE history.
Yeah, Vince McMahon had a longer title reign. Fucking, David Arquette and Vince Russo both had longer world title reigns.
So I read somewhere on the internet that David Arquette, Vince Russo, offered to help fix what's wrong with Monday Night Raw because he did so well helping out Monday Nitro and Impact.
Oh God. I think Vince McMahon sees that email and I think he just renamed his spam folder Russo.
He just goes,
Fuck
no,
off!
no.
Really. At least Vince is smart in that regard.
I'm not opening that Pandora's box again.
Yeah.
But again, the Ambrose Rollins, the Ambrose Reigns match was, I'm not gonna call it spectacular, but it was a good match for what we all knew was going to happen. We all knew that they were going to like throw everything they had at each other and work it like a real fight, and Roman Reigns is going to win, and then Roman Reigns is going to sit there and then get brogue kicked.
Yep.
As it was happening, I was just kind of hoping otherwise. I was like, just shake his hand, see what happens, guys. Come on, guys, take a leap. But it didn't. They played it the safe route, and
Which I hate it when they fucking do that. Stop. They play it way too safe, way too often, and it.
Here's why I think doing that with Sheamus is the right course. It takes the Money in the Bank off of him, and it gets that question out there, so we can start a new cycle in storylines. Because as long as the Money in the Bank is out there active, it's always oh, is it going to be this week? What are we going to do? Could
It's
it
gonna
happen?
be. It's easy out, and you know what?
Exactly.
Sheamus no longer has to carry that giant fucking thing anymore.
Exactly. He could carry a giant title for a couple weeks, and then he'll just go back to
Well,
being
at least the
irrelevant.
title he can hide in a fucking bag.
Yes.
And that's one thing I get. Every Money in the Bank holder will agree with it. You cannot hide in fucking airports.
No, with that giant briefcase.
Yeah, I mean Sheamus already. If he's not wearing a fucking beanie or a hat somewhere, he's gonna get spotted with that giant fucking mohawk. It's like,
Yes.
oh
Or the
shit, it's
fact that
Sheamus.
he's 6'6" and
Yeah.
has giant red hair.
Yeah, he basically
Like he doesn't stand out enough in public, and he's his
and
pet.
then for a while he had that big yellow briefcase, golden briefcase. So
Yeah. But I don't like people knew it was coming. I don't know.
yeah,
Understand
I think I was mad because like, oh, you
content.
took the safe route again.
They took the safe route,
And
and
that's what I think is the biggest. It's not like because I'm not Wrangler because he's good in the ring. Him saying let's get jiggy on these posers was an absolute facepalm moment. I mean, the entire
but
name is like,
I think that's
what?
I think that's what that to me was what sold me on is like I would welcome Sheamus as WWE champion. I for one welcome Sheamus. I for one welcome my new pale WWE champion. Um, I don't get it, man, and I don't get what people were really expecting. I mean, we all kind of figured that they would take this route. We all kind of figured that this WrestleMania is gonna finally be the WrestleMania when Roman Reigns gets his moment. It's
Mm-hmm.
90.9 certain that that's gonna happen. Um, do you even want to talk about the Undertaker match because it was a great match.
His entrance was longer than Roman's title reign. I
Yes,
mean,
it
it
was.
was cool. They do this. They have this was like a big coffin or something, and just this image
Yeah,
of
yeah. Okay, what are they gonna do with a coffin-sized television?
yeah.
Like really? Like, or did they just put like one of the extra, the apron LED displays from NXT, or that they
Might
have,
have
and just built a coffin around it? Like,
probably
what are they gonna do with a TV screen inside of a coffin? It was a good moment. I liked it, but someone suggested that it was gonna be Braun Strowman was gonna wrestle, like, and
no.
that was like,
I
come
think I
on,
said last week that it was going to be Bray and Luke.
yeah, but absolutely, because look, they're not. No offense to the other two members of the Wyatt
Yeah.
family,
Braun, you're not there yet, and
uh,
Eric, I like you, but
I don't think they would. I don't think they're really quite willing to put him in there with the Undertaker
right,
just yet in a match, other than just like one-off segments, taking a tombstone, getting choke slammed, whatever.
right.
Um, I get a lot. Here's the thing: why I get this a lot of. I think this was notable. Why notable? The why Harper was in it. I think Harper has a lot of potential to be the next great big man in this business. He has a lot of Undertaker in him. They have the same kind of athleticism, same size, roughly really the same size, um, as they were, as
Yep.
what I'm trying to say. Were Bray, about to sneeze. Phew! Bless me, I didn't have time to hit my mute button.
Oh well.
Uh, Luke Harper has a lot of the same physical characteristics and athletic attributes as the Undertaker did at that early stage in his career.
How long has Luke Harper been wrestling? Because I know he was Brody Lee
Oh, well,
before.
sorry, early stage in his WWE career.
Okay,
Rather,
fair enough.
I mean, and they are at a lot of they are at that kind of similar stages too, because now Luke Harper is in WWE after having a relatively successful independent run. Undertaker was a you know upper mid card guy in WCW before he jumped ship to WWE, WWF. Um, so there's a lot of similarities between those two guys. So that's why I
Yep.
thought it was good to see Luke Harper in there, because again, this is a guy who I think has enormous upside, and if done right and if given the opportunity, can be I mean, just for now, keep him as Bray Wyatt's silent muscle and
Yep.
de facto number two. Um, where Braun Strowman's like the guy that you put out in front to hit him, but we all kind of know who the real second banana in the Wyatt family is, and that's Harper.
Yep.
Oh. But yeah, I think if done right and given the right time, Harper has all the tools to be, and all the athletic ability to be a great big man, all-time great big man in this business. Not saying he should start, trying to walk the top rope, but just keep doing what he's doing, and because he does things that a guy his size should not be able to do. I'm pretty sure I've seen him do a tope before, and for a guy again that size to do acrobatic stuff, incredible. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, that was Survivor Series. Again, I don't get why people were so upset. I didn't think it was that terrible of a pay per view.
I think we still have a lot of people that just hate Roman Reigns.
They aren't
When
ready.
he won that title, I was like, okay, I can go with this
Like
because I'm a Roman fan, so I like the guy. And
5 minutes and 15 seconds, I was like, all right, if when it was, I was in the back of my head saying, oh, maybe they're not going to put Sheamus as WWE champion. Maybe they'll do it tomorrow on Raw, and it'll only be like a 1-day title reign.
yeah,
But I was like, hey, I could get used to saying this. He's like, they had him and Ambrose kind of had that moment in the ring together where he whispered something to him. I don't know what he said, and I don't know if they were just playing it up. Um,
mm-hmm.
yeah, I genuinely felt for the guy. Like they had the confetti coming down and all this other stuff. Might have been the first WWE title match to ever take place inside a storm of confetti.
Yeah. Hey, and at least this didn't have a Luger, the Luger ending written all over it. Okay, SummerSlam '93, people. What
Oh,
the
please.
fuck? It's
Yeah,
still,
yeah, really. Like they went an entire summer of building Lex Luger up, and then only have him win by count out.
yeah, and he celebrates like he won the fucking title. Like, really, you?
Yeah, that was to me that was my first moment of what the fuck WWE are you doing? I was still a fan, and I still liked it, but I stopped being a Lex Luger fan after that, and I'm just like, yeah, this doesn't make sense. I became a Bret Hart fan after that.
Yeah, it's like
I became a Bret Hart
Luger's
and
a
Shawn.
fucking it because they try to make Luger to be the next Hogan.
Yeah, and it just wasn't. I mean, I believe me, I was believe in all the red, white, and blue Lex Express stuff too, and like being a patriot and stuff like that.
I mean, they had him slam Yokozuna on the
Yeah, and
Intrepid.
I was down for all that. Like I was believing in hook, line, and sinker, but then that SummerSlam ending, and
It
I'm
was
just like,
yeah, you're not the champion. You look like a fucking
why?
idiot.
Why are they celebrating? Oh, he didn't win the belt. He only won by count out. I don't know what's going on. They're still playing. They're still celebrating. Even I don't get it. And I just
Yeah.
remember being very confused by that. But I'm stalling because I'm trying to find an Iron Sheik tweet of the week.
Of course. I mean, it's one of those classic. It was a case where WWE was trying to push people to be, someone to be their guy.
I'm saying I got the exact opposite of the Lex Luger moment with Roman Reigns. Like I'm like, oh, all right, cool. I feel for like, all right, this guy's finally getting reward for hard work and success. He's a second generation superstar or third generation. Is he? Because he's Sika's son, and so yeah, he might be a third generation guy. He's a multi generational superstar.
Yep.
Okay, the second person in his family to hold the top prize in the business. It's a big moment. He beat his best friend in the business, one of his best friends in the business, and a guy who's been with him since he started.
Yep.
I there was a lot of emotional moment, a lot of narrative to that moment. I just don't get it, man. I think by WrestleMania, Roman will make people, come around because we forget just 2 short years ago, people were saying, "Oh, Roman Reigns should have won the Royal Rumble. It should have been Roman Reigns in the main event at WrestleMania."
I was saying that too. I was thinking and saying that too.
Yeah. So for him to say that he's not ready yet, and people saying that these are probably the same people that are saying that he should have beat Batista in the Royal Rumble. So, what you gonna do? So, all right, we're ready for an Iron Sheik tweet of the week before we bring it home.
Yep, Iron Sheik tweet of the week.
Iron Sheik tweet of the week.
Jim, I talk to him. I want to know, are you the man or are you a fucking piece of shit? No good motherfucker. Fucking bullshit! Bullshit Hulk Hogan.
Bullshit Hulk Hogan. Yeah, all right. So Iron Sheik tweet of the week this week. Iron Sheik was all over. He's vintage Iron Sheik this week. It was a hard one to pick. Iron Sheik was all over the place as he always is. He was giving shout outs to noted wrestling fan Joe Manganiello of True Blood and Magic Mike fame. He mostly just got married to the lovely and beautiful Sofia Vergara, so Shaky Baby gave him a shout out.
Nice.
There was a lot of Tony Romo stuff.
Of course.
He did say one prominent thing, and this isn't the Iron Sheik tweet of the week, but I think it's something worth noting that it's coming from Iron Sheik. He said, "Sheamus make the Ric Flair look clean, Bubba." So if Shaky Baby is comparing Sheamus to Nate, come on, I think there's a lot of parallels to be made there. I didn't really realize that until Shaky Baby shows me the light. But this, ladies and gentlemen, in true Iron Sheik form, is our Iron Sheik tweet of the week. Justin Bieber, change the name of your song to "Is It Too Late for Me to Say Go Fuck Yourself?" #AMAs. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your Iron Sheik tweet of the week.
Fucking bullshit!
Yeah, buddy. So this was a good show. The two-man booth is in effect as always. We will be back next week talking about all sorts of wrestling shit. Hopefully no sad, depressing injuries and no one dies or anything else like that. I like to have a good, happy show. All you people upset over Survivor Series, get over it. Get over it.
It's not fucking goddamn. We're not in WWF 1995.
Exactly. We can stop complaining.
Shitty creativables like in 2000 WCW.
We're in a creative lull. Yeah, I will say that because
But
again,
it's not bad.
there's a growing number of former WWE alumni being discontent. I think that's a sign if you're guys that used to be your stalwarts like Mick Foley and all that stuff, and if they're
Yeah.
turning their back on the product, yes, you're in a in danger, but it's not crisis mode yet. Like we're not. It's not all balls to the bandsaw, or your balls are close to the bandsaw yet.
Yeah.
But let's see where this goes, and let's see if this transitional Sheamus Championship comes out any good, because I think there's a new authority stable being formed, which is always good.
Yeah, I
Around
mean,
Sheamus.
Seth is out.
I think they're keeping
Demon
the European.
Kane is Demon Kane.
Yeah, Corporate Kane is gone.
Yep.
So I think they're going to try and build a stable around Sheamus of Rusev and Barrett.
Which I could go with. I could dig that.
Idea. Keep the European guys working together, give them something to do. Who would have been really great for that? Cesaro, but whatever. We'll get over that. Get over that when he comes back. We'll miss the King of Swing greatly, but that's us for here on Slamcast. That's all for now. Plugs.
Yeah, I'm over on YouTube at the Gaming Pegasus 187. I'm on Facebook at Nick Horaceck. I'm in the Wrestling/MMA Revolution Facebook group, posting a bunch of Happy Thanksgiving stuff, including the Bobby Heenan meme.
Hey, how are you? Hey, when I saw that, I had to share that amongst the rest of the boys. But that reminded me of how great a heel commentator and just a persona Bobby Heenan really was. And God, Bobby Heenan could not get away with the stuff he said in the night.
Oh fuck no!
Like there would be special rights or special interest groups, following him all around and just calling for him to be crucified live on TV.
Yep.
But that's made him so great. And God.
Oh yeah. Twitter, Gaming Pegasus 187. Fucking Instagram, Xbox Live, Wii U, WWE Supercard, Pegasus 187. I mean, I'm all over the place, so.
That's where to find them.
Yep.
I'm at Brandon All Hope on the Twitters. You can check me out. I'm on there. Hit me out with the Premier Pals podcast, doing well. That's good. But as always, we like to end the show with the same messages. If you like this show and like professional wrestling, you should go out and support independent wrestling in your local municipality. Support the sport at the grassroots in its moments, because I guarantee you, no matter where you live on this planet, there's people in spandex and boots,
yep,
and tights, and they're trying to live their dream. And the very least you could do, and if you're looking for a way to entertain your family on a budget, I guarantee you will not be disappointed. All the little kids involved that you have will find something that they identify, and you might even be creating a new wrestling fan for life. In that case, so like I said, support independent wrestling. Go to ProWrestlingTees.com, buy some tees. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's another hell of a way to support your favorite independent wrestlers.
Go to Team Tremendous, buy some Team Tremendous tees for Bill and Dan. Bill could use some money to buy some more beer and drown his sorrows in the fact that he was signed once.
Yep.
So for our two absentee Englishmen, this is an all-American podcast. Oh man, I didn't realize.
All-American boys.
Yeah, we are the American Males podcast. Oh jeez.
Oh jeez.
American Males. Now I'm going off on the rails here.
Yeah.
So
end it, please.
For the two absentee Englishmen, Dave Wade, Michael Burhan, for good brother Bill Carr, for all my friends in professional wrestling, for Nick Horaceck, I am Brendan Liggan, saying, go forth and spread peace, or beauty and light. Peace, love, and humptiness to all. It's all Nick.